Wrong way. Oh, one moment. There we are. Maybe I learned to put my camera the right way after all. Oh my God. I get so confused sometimes with this. Anyway, come on, stop it. Stop it. Hello, everybody. All right. It's behaving enough. A little more light. There we go. It's behaving enough. Here, let's get a little more. Or maybe this way. Oh, it does want to go this way. All right. Sorry. You know me. I have to get this camera perfect or it just annoys the hell out of me. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. I was busy yesterday. Sister was visiting, so had to deal with that and didn't have time for the show. I knew I wasn't going to have time for the show, so sorry about that. Let me go live on TikTok. Actually, hang on here. Let me put this on live chat. Actually, I could probably put this here. That's a little more centered. Yes. Unless it does an emergency call on my phone, which would be really annoying. Actually, there, that should be okay. All right. I've done that before. I clamped my phone and then it did the emergency call because it was pushing both ends. And it was like, okay, let's not do that. That would be a bad thing. Hold on. All right. Just making doubly sure because that would be very embarrassing. The police come knocking on the door because I'm broadcasting an emergency signal, like the bat signal. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Let me get TikTok rolling. And we are good to go. Here we go. Woo! And you may have noticed my sister helped me put stuff in the apartment, so things have moved. Things are up. Things are moved around. All right. Hey, TikTok. There we go. All right. Woo! Anyway, welcome, everybody. TikTokers are arriving momentarily. There are the TikTokers. Hey, TikTokers. Hey, guys. Hey, Ash. Woo! Well, welcome, everybody. TikTok and YouTube both. Appreciate you being here today. As always, we'll wait a minute just to let folks arrive. Thank you, Magical. Thank you, Alan. Hey, Buddy. Hey, Sunshine. Big Hawk. I did not do a show yesterday because my sister was visiting and helping me put all sorts of stuff up in the apartment. You may notice things are different, but it took much longer than expected because I have a lot of stuff and some of it was quirky to get up. So her husband helped. My brother-in-law helped a lot. But yeah, so yesterday's show was off because I knew I was going to be like busy as all get out. But anyway, oh no, I'm holding off on the fridge. The fridge is holding its own. So, and I'm going to wait for the whatchamacallit, Labor Day when there's the sales because it's holding its own right now. So, you know, it's not perfect, but it's back in safe range of temperature. So I'm going to wait a little bit and wait for the sales. Anyway, welcome, guys. K, that's the chaos. That's the K I was asking already. What do you think would happen if certain states refuse to certify the election? Chaos. I did not get a new laptop yet. I will be getting that. I'm hanging out. Again, I sort of don't like to buy new things unless I have to. And my laptop is now hanging in there. My keyboard got better, although I've got a keyboard attached to it just to be safe. It's crazy. Anyway, hey, Jasmine, thank you for that. So let's get rolling, guys. Welcome. I am John Aravosis. This is the Aravosis Report. It is my nightly show I do 6 o'clock Eastern Time, U.S., for the latest news about the U.S. elections and also the latest news from Ukraine. We actually have a good amount of news on both topics actually. So I will be starting with the U.S. elections as always, but there is a good amount of Ukraine news we're going to talk about in the second half of the show. So be aware. Oh, don't tell me TikTok screwed up again. Okay, Magical, I don't know what that means. Your TikTok mic might not be. Oh, shit. Oh, you mean this mic. I'm sorry. Sorry, you scared me. I thought you meant TikTok was putting up fake videos without sound. There we go. Yes, I did not have this plugged in. Sorry. There you go. Yes, the mic is on now. All right, guys. Thank you for the gift, Sunshine. All right, let me get rolling here. So welcome, everybody. As I said, I will be doing the show. First half will be U.S. elections. Second half will be Ukraine. Please do keep the gifts coming, which folks are doing on TikTok, but also YouTube. I do this for a living. I do it full time. Nobody pays the bills. You pay the bills. So if you can help, I appreciate it. And also subscriptions. Love subscriptions. TikTok and YouTube both. Basically, it's you pay monthly. Should be $6.99 US. Thank you, Jen. A little confusion on TikTok, and I got rid of something, so hopefully it straightened it out. Thank you, Jen. And thank you, Martin and Aaron. So, yeah, if you can become subscribers, that's great, too. And finally, you can do gift subscriptions that other people get in the audience who may not be able to afford the gift subscriptions. Why do you do a subscription? Because you get access to my weekly show every Saturday morning, and I am doing election updates as well, special updates for paid subscribers. Didn't do one today, as I said, was getting sort of, my sister was still here leaving. Anyway, it was kind of difficult. But tomorrow I will start doing special updates again. Stephanie, God knows what. TikTok is difficult. Sorry. Ava Chazek, thank you. All right, guys, let's get rolling here. So Kamala Harris's favorability ratings are going up. Very interesting. So while she was Biden's vice president, her favorability was going down. So disapproval going up, approval going down. Pretty much she was nowhere to be seen, because that's what happens with vice presidents in America. Thank you, Succeed. Thank you, Bjorn. You don't see them. They're not meant to be seen. They're hidden away. Nonetheless, Republicans were really demonizing her because she's Black and she's a woman. They have a very long history, unfortunately, of that, because they think that their voters, maybe accurately, think that their voters have a problem with Black people and women, and therefore they like to go after it as a focal point. Since Biden dropped out of the race 2 weeks ago now, her favorabilities have been going up significantly, which is great. Her approval ratings have been going up. Still needs to go up higher. But for example, a new ABC Ipsos poll was just released Sunday. Her approval rating has jumped to 43% from 35%. Okay. A week ago, in 1 week, her approval has jumped from 35 to 42%. Her disapproval has dropped from 46 to 43. That's really good. So that means some of the people who didn't like her are starting to like her, and a lot of people who were agnostic, kind of in the middle, have gone to liking. Again, hopefully that translates to hopefully it translates to votes. May not be. Thank you, Yorid. May not be a direct correlation that every point of approval goes to a point of votes, but if people are starting to like you more, they're going to vote for you more likely than not. So that's a good thing. Harris will choose a running mate by next week. As you may recall, in order to get on the ballot in Georgia, it's the only state that's kind of playing games like this. They've got a law that says the Republican and Democratic Party, any party, has to pick their nominees by August 8th, which is a week from tomorrow, August 8th, in order to put their names on the ballot. Thank you, Darlene. So she has to have a nominee pretty much by like next Tuesday or so, I believe. She is also, once the nominee is chosen, she's then going to travel around with them, obviously, to key states. She announced today, but also she herself will be chosen as the nominee. Thank you, Jonathan. By August 8th, because she as well has to be picked. So there could be a vote, the Democratic Party, the Democratic convention vote, so to speak. They could do it as early as August. I meant Ohio. I don't know if I said Ohio. As early as August 1st, they could be doing the vote to choose her as the nominee. So and the first, by the way, is it Saturday? It's earlier than Saturday. Is that Thursday? Yeah. April, January, November, 31. That would be Thursday. So they could have the vote on choosing her as the nominee as early as 2 days from now, and as late as the 7th. So that's very good. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Sunshine. A little bit more here. As far as her House vice presidents, another leading candidate has dropped out. Roy Cooper, which we're going to miss because pronouncing his name is really hard, and I had to look it up. His pronounced O-O is pronounced correctly like foot. And don't argue with me on this. Google it. You're wrong. He came out and gave a whole explanation of how to pronounce it. It's Cooper, like foot. Roy Cooper, spelled Cooper. And he's pulled out of the race. He's pulled out of the nomination process or whatever. Not clear why. Not clear whether her people told. My guess is, look, he claims that there's something going on in the state, and he's worried about leaving and being gone and stuff. Maybe. My concern is they probably found something in his background, talked to him about it, and he said, yeah, we might as well let it go. Thank you, Pedro. As far as who is still being considered, these are the names that are being put out there for who are being considered for Kamala Harris as vice president. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. Thank you, Danan. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. I will tell you right now, there is no way in hell Pete's going to be the nominee. We've talked about this. I love Pete. He'd be my first choice, but he's gay. And there is no way in hell any thinking strategic person is going to put a Black woman and a gay man as the two nominees, because forget it. You've just told America you're radical. Now, Doesn't mean you're radical, but in elections it is. You would not do that in an election. It would be crazy. So he's not there. Pete's not there. We love Pete. He'll be a great surrogate. Shapiro could get it. Yep. Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania. Basically, you want to pick a state that voters need. You want to pick a vote that voters need, that Harris needs, that she may not be getting, right? Pete is now in Michigan. That doesn't hurt. That's helpful. Pennsylvania, hugely important. Arizona, hugely important. Minnesota, I don't know if Minnesota is as important. So that would be a strike against Tim Walz. And Kentucky, Kentucky's fine. I'm not sure Kentucky is the biggest, most important race either. That does lend more towards Josh Shapiro and Mark Kelly, Arizona and Pennsylvania. I think those are the top two. I really do. Now, it's going to depend what they find. She should pick Pence. That's very funny, Disco Fantasy. Actually, I will say this. I always talk about how Democrats suck at messaging, and they really do compared to Republicans. A couple different people have joked about it and said, Donald Trump's already got a vice president, Mike Pence. Where is he? Well, Mike Pence isn't there anymore because Donald Trump tried to kill him, basically, by sicking people on him. 1,000 rioters, 1,000 insurrectionists who said they were trying to lynch, which is to hang, Mike Pence, a January 6th insurrection. Pence is now not endorsing Trump, his own vice president. And this is the thing that's amazing with Donald Trump is the people who know him best, who worked for him, most of them are not endorsing him. His chiefs of staff, his top generals, his administration, a number of his cabinet, none of them are supporting Trump. Well, Mike Pence, his own vice president, isn't supporting Trump because, tried to kill him. Usually that's a deal breaker for votes. But Democrats should be doing more with that, I think. Thank you, F-35. I think Democrats should be doing a lot more with the Mike Pence thing. And actually, for example, I would carry signs at the Democratic Convention. Thank you, Kim, for subscribing. I would carry signs to the Democratic Convention that say, "Where's Mike Pence?" Stickers, "Where's Mike Pence?" Because it gets the media talking about it. And every time it comes up, it sends two messages. One, why isn't Trump's own vice president with him? Why isn't his own vice president not supporting him? And B, it brings the answer, which is, oh yeah, he tried to have him killed. Maybe that's the problem, right? So it's the messaging wise of this is really brilliant. That's what I'd read, James. The number was 40 out of 44 cabinet members of Trump's old cabinet members are not supporting him. I haven't seen confirmation of that. I'd like to see confirmation, but that was the number I saw. Thank you, James Althouse, for the gift on YouTube. Please keep the gifts coming, guys. Again, supports my work. I appreciate it. A little more here. Harris. Oh, so Kamala did a great job today. Kamala Harris said today, I'm showing up for the September 10th ABC News debate, whether Donald Trump shows up or not. Trump has been trying to pull out of the debates now for 2 weeks. Ever since he saw that Biden wasn't the nominee. Thank you, Magical. Thank you, Lamb Chop. Thank you, Sunshine. And that that Harris looked to be remember, within 48 hours, it was clear Harris was going to be the nominee. Trump started calling into question whether he was going to show up. Thank you, Spag. Thank you, Alan. And multiple ways. Like, I don't trust ABC News. Well, what do you mean you don't trust ABC News? You literally agreed to do an ABC News debate with Joe Biden. So if you didn't trust ABC News before, you wouldn't have agreed. This is good too. Well, I agreed to debate Joe Biden, not anybody else. Don't be an idiot. You agreed to debate the Democratic candidate, right? It's not like, well, I'll debate some Democratic candidates. What are you talking about? That the latest they're trying to say, which is a total lie yesterday, Martin, thank you, Martin, a total lie as well, is, well, she's not officially the nominee yet. She's not a nominee until the Democratic convention. Thank you, Martin, or until the vote is in a week. She's not the nominee. We can't agree to debate somebody who isn't the official nominee. When Donald Trump agreed to debate Joe Biden, neither he nor Biden were the nominee. You're not the nominee until your convention. Trump wasn't the nominee until 2 weeks ago, but they debated like a month ago. Not debated. Actually, they did debate. Remember, they debated when Trump debated Biden in that disastrous debate for Biden. Thank you, Sunshine. Thank you, Wayne, for subscribing. In that disastrous debate for Biden, Trump was not the official candidate of the Republican Party. Biden was not the official candidate of the Democratic Party. They've got to. Oh, thank you, Blue Ariel, for gifting the subscription. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mustard, for the gift, and Kano, and Maddie, and Kano. So it's another bullshit excuse. Bottom line, guys, is Trump is terrified of debating a smart woman. And doesn't like black women and all of that too, but she's brilliant. Say what you will about Kamala Harris, but it always kind of cracks me up when Republicans try to claim, thank you, Max, thank you, Courtney, thank you, Aim, or Amy, perhaps, when Republicans try to say, she's not smart, she's stupid. Look, you can dislike the woman. Thank you, Macabre. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Rune. You can say she's too liberal for you. I mean, all of those are fair criticisms in principle, right? Someone's too liberal, somebody's too conservative. But taking an obviously smart, she's a lawyer. She's a prosecutor. She's a former prosecutor. She's not only do you not get to be a lawyer and not have some intelligence, especially a prosecutor, but also when she speaks, you can tell she's an intelligent, educated woman. Again, if anything, her problem would be she's too educated and too smart, and she's got to learn to talk to the public and be a regular guy, as we say in English, right? For a regular gal. But it always cracks me up when they say, she's not smart, she's stupid. It's like literally no one looks at Kamala Harris and honestly says she's stupid. Like, as I said, they may say I don't like her politics or whatever, but she's stupid. That's just stupid. Moving on here. Let me read you Trump's quote, because I think this is hilarious. Trump's quote, his most recent quote about the debates that he's trying to pull out of. Listen to this. Are you going to debate Kamala Harris? The answer is yes. I'll probably end up debating. I think, mind you, he just said yes. Then he said probably in the same sentence. So like two different answers. The answer is yes. I'll probably end up debating. I think actually the debate should take place before the votes start being cast. Okay, the votes aren't being cast in early September. I could also make a case for not doing it, he told ABC. He said ABC News. Trump and Biden had agreed. I want to do a debate, but I can also say this. Everybody knows who I am, and now people know who she is. She's a radical left lunatic. She'll destroy our country. She wants open borders. So Laura Ingraham, Fox News host, says, then why not debate her? He says, well, wait, because they already know. Sorry. Fox News' Laura Ingraham, who's a Trump fan, says, then why don't you just debate her if she's so horrible? Well, wait, but because they already know everything. He's terrified of this woman. Guys, for Trump to say the reason you're not debating her is because everybody already knows everything about her. Right? I mean, and everybody didn't already know everything about you and Joe Biden, but you agreed to debate him multiple times? He's terrified of Kamala Harris. He is terrified of debating this woman. She's a woman. She's black. Two things he does not like. Black women in particular. Trump has a long history of going after black female members of Congress. Thank you, Wayne Judd. Really bad. And thank you, Dark Sub, for the subscriptions you threw in there. Appreciate it. The gift subscriptions. Guys, Biden was a disaster in that debate. Biden let Trump get away with murder. Biden let Trump get away with at least 30 lies, according to CNN. Kamala Harris will not. Kamala Harris will not let Biden get away with, Trump get away with saying he's going to pardon the January 6th domestic terrorists. She's not going to let Trump get away with saying that the economy was doing better under Trump. Guess what? It's doing better under Biden. It is. She's going to not let him get away with saying inflation's out of control. Inflation's not out of control. It went up after COVID. And by the way, the reason it went up after COVID was because of Donald Trump. Donald Trump let COVID get out of control. He didn't care about it. He lied about it. He said it was going to end in 2 weeks. And then after his administration developed a vaccine, what did Donald Trump do? He convinced you not to take it because it's dangerous and doesn't work. Remember that from all the Republicans? From that idiot in Florida and everybody else? All the Republicans got together, the Republican leadership, to convince people the vaccine wasn't safe, that Trump created this catastrophe. And as a result, we got high inflation. Having said that, the inflation's gone now. It's down to 3%. It's down to relatively normal. Prices don't ever come down afterwards, but, talk to Donald Trump about it because he caused the prices to go up in the first place. All right. Trump reiterated his weird comments about possibly ending all elections in America if he gets elected. Last week, Trump made a very weird statement about, let me read it to you. I love you. He was talking to evangelical Christians, which are the far right, the extreme right religious people. I love you. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good, you're not going to have to vote. Okay. Right. So a lot of people interpreted that to mean that Donald Trump just was planning on ending elections in America because it didn't make sense, right? What do you mean you don't have to vote again in 4 years? You don't care if a Democrat, let's pretend Trump wins. You don't care if a Democrat wins in 4 years? You don't care if Democrats take over the Congress? That's just stupid. Of course you should care. If you're a Republican, you should stop Democrats. If you're a Democrat, you should stop Republicans from winning. It makes no sense. So a lot of people interpret it as Donald Trump saying, if I win, I'm ending all elections in the future. So he goes on Fox News, right-wing Republican news network. And even better, he interviews with Laura Ingraham. Thank you, Lori. Evo, we'll have to get to that in a second. And I wouldn't worry, but we'll talk. The interviews with Laura Ingraham. Laura Ingraham is a really super duper conservative Republican activist and a MAGA activist. She has her own show. It's a partisan show. I mean, there's no stopping about it, right? It's a partisan show. And she's a Republican. She's a MAGA Republican, and her show is propaganda for MAGA. She's interviewing Trump about this topic and trying to help him out. And she's into the interview. She's like, okay, and I'm going to read you the quote. She's like, you didn't really mean you're going to end all elections in America. That's just the liberals, right? She gave him, I watched the tape, 2 minutes and 45 seconds of Laura Ingraham repeatedly going, but you're not going to end elections, right? He wouldn't answer the question. Listen to this. On Monday, she notes that Democrats have highlighted the quote as evidence that Trump would end elections and urged Trump to rebut what she called a ridiculous criticism. Thank you, Danan. But Trump declined to do so, repeating a pattern he frequently employs in which he makes a provocative statement that can be interpreted in many ways and makes no attempt to quiet the uproar. The comment was especially striking given his attempts to overturn the 2020 election and his shattering of other democratic norms, because Trump tried to violently overthrow the government to steal the election, among other ways of stealing it. So saying I'm going to end all voting in America if I'm elected, you need to answer. Ingraham offers him an off-ramp. You mean you don't have to vote for you because you'll have 4 more years in office? Mr. Trump began responding by talking about gun owners not voting. So she interrupts him again and says, it's being interpreted as you are not surprised to hear by the left. Well, they're never going to have another election. So you can even just respond. And she's going to say to that, right? Mr. Trump cut her off, claiming again that Christians vote in very small percentages and digressing into how he would change voting practices. He then, just in case there was any confusion, he repeated his statement from Friday once more, saying his message has been, don't worry about the future. You have to vote on November 5th. After that, you don't have to worry about voting anymore. The man, guys, I mean, the thing is, I will say this about Trump. There is a certain strength in the fact he never backs down, because Democrats do. Biden did it again today. He said something and then went, well, I criticized the speaker. I didn't really mean it. I didn't mean that. There's a weakness factor from Biden that should not be there. Trump says any idiotic thing and doubles down on it. The problem, of course, for him is he's doubling down. He cracks me up. He's doubling down on ending all elections in America. Anyway, this caused such a scandal last week that he's only made it worse. And of course, the Harris people and the Democrats are going to run with this like crazy. Harris had a White Dudes for Harris fundraising and organizing call, which will freak out Republicans, I'm sure. Thousands of white men got on the call, including celebrities and politicians, raising over $4 million. The 2025 project is having issues. So Trump got pissed. Trump has always been supportive of the Project 2025. Project 2025 means next year when Trump gets inaugurated. And it's by the Heritage Foundation, which is the leading Republican policy think tank here in Washington, D.C., but it's now a MAGA think tank. They used to be Reagan conservatives, like hating the Russians, wanting to defend American allies abroad, right? Beating the Russians around the world. Now they're MAGA. Now they criticize the war in Ukraine and side with the Russians. They're no longer conservatives anymore. So Heritage came up with this proposal and it was literally, what was this, 140? Hang on. It's 140 people who worked in the Trump administration, or the team, got together at Heritage, and they are putting together a project to radically transform the federal government if they're elected. They want to ban abortion. They want to destroy literally eliminate the Department of Education. They want to eliminate the Weather Service because at one point Trump claimed that a hurricane was going to hit like the western Gulf of Mexico. And the forecast didn't show that. So he drew with a magic marker, a Sharpie, on the hurricane forecast. And the Weather Service was forced to issue a statement saying, that is not our map. So now Trump wants to eliminate them. Project 2025 also, thank you, Blue Sky, also is planning to fire like 100,000 civil servants who are just civil servants. They're not political appointees. They're just the regular civil servants. And they're planning on firing them in order to replace them with Trump activists, which is really scary because they're literally not political jobs. They're just regular people. And they want to put regular people across the entire U.S. federal government I should say not regular people, take regular jobs that are not political jobs and put MAGA activists in the job. Very scary stuff. So Democrats did a very good job of standing up and saying, this is radical, this is weird, this is crazy. And Trump is now freaking out because, of course, it makes him look bad. And the press finally jumped on it and said, what are you doing? This is a crazy proposal. So Trump then turned and said, like a week ago, I don't even know what Project 2025 is. I've never even heard of it. His own top people are running it. It's the Heritage Foundation. It's the top MAGA think tank in Washington, D.C. He's never heard of it. J.D. Vance, it ends up there's a new book coming out by one of the top Project 2025 leaders. J.D. Vance wrote the introduction to the book. There was something else here. Hang on. What was the other, at least 140 people who worked in the Trump administration have a hand in the project. Just crazy stuff. J.D. Vance is in a little more trouble now about the children thing, or still in trouble. So Trump's vice presidential pick gets chosen and lots of problems. Thank you. Thank you, Booth Bobster, for the subscription. Vance is in trouble for couches among cat ladies and everything else. Trump picks him 2 weeks ago. Everything explodes. Thank you, whoever got the subscription for Bobster there. Everything blows up. Vance has been an embarrassment the last 2 weeks. And Trump, I guarantee you, is pissed. Trump does not want to pick an embarrassment. Trump does not want an embarrassment getting all bad press. Trump hates that stuff. So Vance is an embarrassment. He, among other things, says that, there's a meme going around, probably not true. I keep hearing differing stories now, but probably not true. That in his book, Vance wrote about having sex with a couch, that he would put plastic. He was such a regular guy that he would put plastic bags in his couch cushions and, do it. And it's probably not true. The fact check from the Associated Press got taken down, so nobody knows, but it looks like it's not true. It has been nonstop jokes about J.D. Vance screwing couches, and people keep sharing pictures. My favorite was there's a picture that J.D. Vance has out there of, it must have been when he was interviewed or something, of he and his wife on a couch at home. And somebody wrote the caption, my favorite throuple, my favorite threesome is J.D. Vance, his wife, and their couch. It doesn't look good. It's embarrassing. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's just embarrassing. Even worse for Vance, he went on this weird tirade recently about, or I should say video came out recently of J.D. Vance talking about people without kids being like evil and bad and criticizing Kamala Harris, among others, for not having kids, which in fact she does. She has 2 stepkids. Criticizing Pete Buttigieg for not having kids. He's got 2 adopted kids. And he's gay, by the way, so it's not like he can have kids, right? And the normal means. He could do it through in vitro fertilization, but of course, the Republicans are literally trying to ban that and have gotten it banned, pretty much effectively banned in Alabama, and they're looking for a nationwide ban. Thank you, Running. So listen to this. New audio comes up of him again criticizing women who don't have kids. He called them cat ladies. Listen to this. This is from CNN. More audio has surfaced from a podcast interview in 2020 that not having children makes people more sociopathic. The fact that so many people, especially in America's leadership class, just don't have that in their lives, kids, I worry that it makes people more sociopathic and ultimately our whole country a little a little bit less mentally stable. You can say a lot of things about having kids, right? There's a lot of good things about having kids. Making you more mentally stable, honestly, hey, I've seen kids. I grew up with kids. I was a kid. You could argue having kids makes you less mentally stable. There's a lot of good it does in your life. And I think even having a dog does that for me, right? Taking care of kids, having to worry about somebody else can be very good in your life. But mental stability with kids, I would imagine you get it, right? The podcast hosted by Chris Burskirk was published online in late November 2020, months before Vance launched his Senate campaign. Several months later, Vance, who by then was running for Senate, used the cat lady language again in a tweet sharing an article from The Hill with the headline, "Polls find significant percentage fear having children because of climate crisis. The cat ladies, man, they must be stopped." Now, that's a little weird. Even funnier, and I should have printed them out for you. The Democrats, and it's really getting the Republicans, they're getting pissed. The Democrats have decided to use the word weird to paint Republicans. Thank you, Shane. And they've been doing a very good job with it. It's something Democrats tend not to do very well, this messaging. Sorry. My voice is scratchy tonight. It's something Democrats don't do very well, that Republicans do very well, that Trump does very well. Trump picks up a phrase, right? Build the wall, and then says it 100 times a day, right? Mexico will pay. Mexico didn't pay. He didn't build the wall. But he says it and it brands well. Democrats, for the first time that I can recall, are doing it with Republicans. They're using the phrase weird for all the Republican leaders. They're using the phrase weird because J.D. Vance is weird and they're having some success. Using it for Trump, Trump, less weird, but the word still works. But they're using it for everything bizarre that Trump or J.D. Vance stand for and calling it weird. And a number of Republicans are starting to get pissed off and go, was it JD? Who was it? Who was it that said this today? Was it JD Vance? I think who said, in school, I'll say what we used to say in school. Oh no, Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio said this. Thank you, Hat and Mustache. Thank you, F35 says, I'm not weird. You're weirder. And he goes, that's what we used to say in school. I'm not weird. You're weirder. If you're 12, that's a good answer, or maybe 9, right? But anyway, there was a live chat question on YouTube from 6Evo. Should we worry about Israeli airstrikes today? This is kind of a long tangent, but you paid for it, so I'll talk about it briefly. Hezbollah, southern Lebanon, bombs Israel, kills and injures a bunch of children in sort of Israeli-controlled territory. And the Israelis, because a bunch of their kids just got killed, decided to bomb one of the heads of Hezbollah back. My first answer is, should you worry is irrelevant. Hezbollah just killed a bunch of kids on purpose. The Israelis have to respond. So it doesn't really matter worry or not. Second of all, that's life. That's just life. If you bomb kids, you're going to get bombed back. Period. I mean, that's just is going to happen. Can anything lead to a larger war? Sure. But that's also like saying, Ukraine attacked Moscow with a drone. Should I be worried? Well, maybe if the Russians do something stupid, that doesn't mean the Russians shouldn't do it. So, I mean, I'm not sure how to answer the question. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, who is it? Shane? Shane didn't. Shane was just saying hi to Flower Lady. I thought it was a gift. Thank you, Sean. I don't know. Thank you, Adventures. There is always the risk of the war getting broader. Thank you, Shane, for subscribing, of the war getting broader. That Lebanon, Israel, I should say Hezbollah, which is this terrorist group that controls Lebanon instead of the government, certainly southern Lebanon, that they decide to go to war with Israel. If they do, then we get a larger war. Israel then is fighting the war on two fronts. Then you risk Iran getting in the war. If Iran gets in the war, we're getting in the war. Also, at some point, the Arabs need to remember Israel's got nuclear weapons. I mean, Israel is not going to lose any war. They're not going to lose territory. They're not going to lose Israel. They've got nukes. That's reason to worry. But, the only reason I'm saying this, 6Evo, is we should not be worrying about every little attack being, oh my God, should I be worried? And you know this anyway. I don't like the basis of the question because I find should I worry to be kind of like, oh my God, as JD Vance would say, don't be a cat lady. Don't be a cat lady. Don't be worried all the time. But I mean, sure, wars are bad. Wars can always spin out of control. Yes, that's life. Thank you, Randy. Do I think Iran's regime will change soon? Nope. Because they've been around for a while, and every time things start to bubble up democratically, they clamp down and kill everybody. Thank you, Liv. So don't think so. Let's move on. So now I've got the Ukraine update. We'll do our Ukrainian update. Hang on a second. It is day 887 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. They said the Russians said the war was going to be 3 days. It's 877 days. 877? 887. Wall Street Journal. Finally, we have an F-16 update of sorts. The U.S. has agreed to arm dozens of F-16 jet fighters being sent to Ukraine with American-made missiles and other advanced weapons. Denmark and the Netherlands are preparing to send the first American-made F-16s to Ukraine this summer, and more will come later from Belgium and Norway. But until now, the source of critical weapons for the planes has been unresolved. And we talked about this. People were asking, do we know what weapons they're... Actually, about a week or two ago, one of you asked, do we know what weapons we're sending? We didn't at the time, or which country. Thank you, Brett. The weapons for the F-16 that the U.S. is sending include AGM-88 HARM air-to-ground missiles. Those are a big deal from what people were explaining. The extended-range versions of Joint Direct Attack Munition Kits, JDAMs, which convert unguided bombs to smart weapons. It's kind of like putting wings on a bomb. So rather than the bomb dropping dumb like World War II style, the bomb can now glide, and you can start to, refine the direction it's going to hit the target. And so-called small diameter bombs that explode with a tight blast radius. In addition, the U.S. will send advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles known as AMRAAMs and AIM-96 short-range air-to-air missiles for the jets. Big deal. That's a big deal. I was reading somebody else saying that claiming that F-16s aren't really worth it if you don't have the weapons, that the weapons are the big thing. Thank you, Mustard, for resubscribing. That's kind of the big thing you want, are the weapons. Anyway, up to Wagner. So Wagner Group got slaughtered this weekend. It might have been yesterday, or it might have been Sunday. Absolutely slaughtered in Mali. So thank you, Kronos. Please keep the gifts coming, guys. Keep the subscriptions coming, or gifts subscriptions. The Wagner Group, as you may recall, is a Russian mercenary group that are soldiers for hire. They're paid. They were working in Ukraine significantly. And then they tried to overthrow Putin in an insurrection. They tried to have a coup d'etat. Could have been quite successful, actually. But the leader, Prigozhin, stepped down and then negotiated with Putin. Putin said, okay, if you step back, stand down, I won't kill you, blah, blah, blah. 2 months later, Putin blew up the plane that he was in, and that was the end of the Wagner Group. Now they've sort of recreated them in Africa. They're calling them the Africa Corps, which ironically is what Nazi Germany called its troops in North Africa. I mean, the Russians just can't do this stuff smartly. Well, one of the countries the Russians are fighting in with the governments, for the government as hired mercenaries, is Mali. Mali has been facing an Al-Qaeda of North Africa, and I believe Islamic State as well. I think it's both. Insurrection in the really bad terrorist movement in northern and northeastern Mali, and the Russians have been helping them for pay, of course. Listen to this from I'm forgetting where this was. Up to 80 Wagner mercenaries killed in Mali. Rebel fighters, Russian rifles slung over their shoulders, step among more than a dozen bodies strewn around the sand. This is from a video just released of the shootings. Off camera, the pop of gunshots can be heard. The scene is from another battle in the vast deserts of northern Mali, except that this time the victims were Russians. At the end of the video, the camera pans to a bearded white man on the ground, apparently begging for mercy. A different video shows several white men still alive, kneeling amid the wreckage of a vehicle as guerrilla fighters encircle them. A pickup truck with militants approaches the men as others kick them in the head. As I said, some Russian media had reported that 80 Wagner mercenaries were killed in this attack, which is huge. Very bad for Russia. Oh, well. I am not convinced, because I think it was Al-Qaeda of North Africa, among others, who were doing the attacking. They are not our friends. They are not good people. They're terrorists. But, not going to, this is still a good thing what happened in terms of the safety of the world and the safety of Ukraine. Let me see. Beep, 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 beep. Yep, it was Al Qaeda North Africa and another group. Let me see here. British general, 5 years for Russian success. So a British general says that the Russians need about 5 years to take the territories they're trying to take in Ukraine, right? Pull the map out. The Russians are occupying Crimea, and they invaded these territories last year. Most of what I'm pointing to with my finger is what they've taken. And in order to solidify their control on those territories and take all the territories, because they don't have all of them in the east there, they're going to need about 5 years, he said. The new head of the British Army has said it will likely take Russian troops 5 years to grind their way to Moscow's minimal goal of fully capturing 4 Ukrainian regions. General Sir Raleigh Walker said there would likely be 1.8 million Russian soldiers left dead or wounded in the effort, which is an insanely large number. Thank you, Randy. This is the Russians. The good news is that's a horrific price for the Russians to pay. And it means, just as we thought, if the Russians keep dragging this out, things are not going to get easier for them. Not going to be good for the Ukrainians too, by the way. Thank you, Randy, for the multiple gifts, but not good for the Russians either. Thank you, William. A little more here. Got another half page of news. Mitch McConnell thing doesn't really matter. Russia passes a new cryptocurrency law in an effort to dodge Western sanctions. Thank you, Lord Flash and Randy, for even more gifts. This was good. 2 Tu-22 M3 strategic supersonic bombers of Russia were damaged in a July 25th airstrike targeting the Olenya airfield in Russia's Murmansk Oblast, approximately 1,800 kilometers north of the Ukrainian border. That's 1,800 kilometers, 1,200 miles maybe north, which is really far away. Sky News calls the Tu-22 plane one of the Kremlin's most hated and effective weapons. So injuring or damaging 2 of them is huge. Ukraine also hit some more oil depots and oil areas within Russia. And then finally, there was kind of a crazy story out. I forgot the source. I wrote this down, that basically the Indians are still trying to get back their dead loved ones. Thank you, Bjorn, from Russia. Listen to this. Ravi Moon, 21, traveled to Russia in January after being contacted by an agent who promised him a job in the transport sector, his relatives said. Once he arrived in Russia, he was forced to fight in the war. Russians literally are kidnapping foreign nationals. When they come to Russia, they took some other Indians that were there on vacation and kidnapped them, and they send them to the front in Ukraine with no training to basically die as cannon fodder. And at least 4 of them have been killed so far, at least 4 of the Indians, and the Russians are still refusing to return the bodies. It's really pretty sick. They met with the Indian premier a couple of weeks ago in Moscow. The Russians promised to no longer try to kidnap Indians and, trick them into fighting with the Russian military, but they're still not returning the bodies, which is just sick. All right, that is it for today's news update. Let's talk. Let's do where is this? Hang on a second. Where's my hold on. I've got a little cloth for my thing here. Where'd you go, little cloth? Here you are. Well, there's one of them. All right. So I have a little cloth for my mug of water, because it sweats and then becomes a mess. Much better there. There we go. All right. So yes, let's hang out. Let's chat and talk. So this is the part of the show where we hang out, we talk, blah, blah, blah. You know how it works. Anyway, aren't jobs threatened by a 2025 project? I have not seen a jobs analysis. I've seen an inflation analysis. This is also Trump. Trump is threatening to put tariffs on like every Chinese product, let alone every product, but every Chinese product is like 90% of our imported products, like a 10% tariff on them, which would increase either 10 or 20. No, it's 20%, I think, which would increase the price of everything by 20%. That would be 20% inflation. So I do know that the public servants would be forced out. Yes, they're talking about 100,000 public servants at all. Ukraine did not. Russia added a crypto law to dodge sanctions, to basically help it easier for business to do transactions abroad using crypto instead of dollars. I did have a good day. In fact, I did. Just busy and tired, but good. Thank you, Snowblade, for the gift. What else, guys? So yeah, elections, Ukraine, we'll talk about whatever. I always laugh when like I have a long show and then people don't chime in with questions, but feel free to chime in with comments too. The fridge is not fixed, but it's behaving better, so I'm holding off. I've been looking at fridges online. I'm going to probably have to, at DC, it's just impossible. I'm going to probably have to, I don't like buying it online, meaning not seeing it in person, but I'm going to try to go to some outlets and stores just to see fridges. And then I'm probably going to buy it over Labor Day weekend because they're on sale here that weekend. Unless my fridge holds in there, then maybe I'll wait. I mean, it's doing better. At least the temperature's in the safe range now. It was kind of an unsafe range before. Thank you, Flower Power. I don't know anything about the Malians contacting the Ukrainians. How old is my fridge? 18 years, which is pretty good. Oh, I know. We had this discussion before, Normar. I've already Googled and researched. The ratings say LG and Samsung are good. The consumer ratings say LG and Samsung are the worst fridges you can get. And when I went on some forums I trust, like Bogleheads, and read up on it, everybody hates, we're not going to talk fridges tonight until the end. Everybody hates every single refrigerator they buy nowadays. They don't last. The repair people say they last 5 to 7 years. I mean, horrific. Consumer Reports is screwed up too. Consumer Reports says LG is the best one. Talk to regular people and they will tell you LG is horrific. Already cleaned the coils tab. I'm not stupid. Like, already looked at it. I Google and talked to my brother-in-law. Already cleaned the coils. Well, Boglehead. It's a Bogleheads, Bogle heads. They talk about a lot of different stuff financial, but they also have a really interesting thread from 2020, from last fall, about refrigerators, and a lot of interesting people. I have not talked to Yulia. Why? Call Mishka. Why? I've been busy the last 2 days. Why? What's up? I did turn it on and off again. That's not a stupid question, David. Apparently, sometimes turning fridges off for a prolonged period of time, especially an hour, can rarely help to do something. But, you know, a fridge from IKEA, that's not even a thing, is it? IKEA doesn't have fridges, do they? Yeah, Whirlpool could be good. Honestly, they all seem to suck. Everybody hates them all now. You know? They just hate it. Again, it's behaving a little better now. The problem is that I don't want to do fridges all night. It's reading the wrong temperature. So my fridge thinks it's at 34 degrees. It's really at 39 degrees. And I had to go all the way down to 34 just to get it to 39. Earlier, I had to go down to 34 setting to get it to 42. And it thinks it's at 34 now, so it won't cool it anymore. It's crazy. A fridge from IKEA. I'll check. I had no idea. That's crazy. A lot of women not registering to vote. I doubt that's true. Don't know. I did see that. Yeah, Elon Musk banned some accounts supporting Kamala Harris. It might be back online now, but Elon's an idiot, of course. IKEA does have that. Okay, I'm going to look at IKEA. That's very funny. What the heck? Can't hurt. What will help to Ukraine look like under Harris? Her national security aides are more conservative than Biden's, meaning they're more aggressive in a good way, standing up to the Russians, etc. Biden, for example, I swear to God, by the way, I've told you guys, like, I've got Biden's number. Listen to what he's doing about Venezuela and tell me if this doesn't sound like Ukraine to you. The Venezuelans hold their election on Sunday for president. They pick the dictator. The polls showed that the opposition candidate had like 60% of the vote or something, and the dictator president had like 30%, 35% of the vote. The dictator president won the election. The opposition had twice the votes in the latest polls. They won. Well, everybody said the elections were stolen. Like 9 Latin American countries stepped up and said the elections were stolen. The Biden administration is refusing to say the elections are stolen. They sort of said, well, we're concerned about reports of election irregularities, but we want to see the report first, the study of what people say. The Latin American countries have already said they were stolen. It's obvious they were stolen. I just don't know. There is something with Biden. There is this, honestly, it might be over intellectual. It's not cowardice. It's hard to explain. It's not cowardice. It is this, oh, we better be careful. He's careful. We better be careful, right? Everything's careful. And It's really dangerous. And he's doing it now in Venezuela, right? All the other countries are stepping up and we're issuing. It's very bad what they're doing. It looks like the election wasn't fair. I mean, but they also didn't want to call it an illegitimate election, which again, it's like Ukraine. Well, we'll criticize, but not too far, right? Because if we go too far, what? Venezuela is going to nuke us? I mean, no, they don't have nukes. Thank you, Blue Sky. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Aaron. It's just really, it really pisses me off. Really pisses me off. I mean, honestly, countries should be getting together to overthrow the guy when it comes down to it. I mean, this is where I'm much more of a hawk on stuff. I think when you've got dictators running countries and you can safely overthrow the dictator, I think you should. If it's safe. I wouldn't do it to a country that has nukes. I wouldn't do it. You know, Iran can be risky. But, you know, and people don't like it for Latin America, but at this point, other Latin American countries should invade and take them out because you should not have it is dangerous to have dictators in Latin America. Anyway. Trump's plan for elections is the Maduro plan. What do you mean, Wilson? What do you mean by that? Maduro is the dictator in Venezuela, but I wasn't sure what you meant. Thank you, Randy. What else we got? No, I hope the Venezuelans overthrow the guy, but it's very dangerous, unfortunately. We do have a ton of sanctions on Venezuela, a few levers we can pull. Right, but that doesn't stop Biden from saying the election was stolen, right? You can at least say that. I mean, he's literally making it sound like maybe not. I mean, it's yeah. Correct, Frank. I've talked about that a lot. Frank Thomas says overthrowing dictators can create a power vacuum. We've talked about that a lot with regards to Putin. Thank you, Jeremy. You don't overthrow dictators or governments unless you know what's coming next. And if you can't guarantee what's coming next, then you don't do it because you don't want a power vacuum, a civil war, the country falling apart, terrorism, terrorists coming there, whatever, right? So yes. Biden's not running for Senate again. Oh God, no, he's retiring, Joshua. He's too old and he knows it. Yeah, he's not running again. Also, Democrats would kill him if he tried to run again. They'd be like, get out of here. Thank you, Shane. So the shirt, this is one of my Amazon shirts. It says, it doesn't say anything. It just says a rainbow. I thought it said be kind. It's one of the rainbow shirts, but I thought it was very pretty and summery. What is Amendment 4 in Florida? I'm not recalling, Rookinator. What is that? Oh boy. Sorry, guys. I'm just tired. Like I said, we were running around the last 2 days, and it was very hot, and having to do a lot of. Thanks, Courtney. A lot of just running around. So, there's nothing about France and Russia. We aren't hearing anything else about the Russians and the Olympics. I will say this. Thank you, Dawn. It's in France's best interest not to talk about the Russian attempts at terrorism and everything right now. They don't want the story of the Olympics to be France was unsafe because the Russians tried to kill people, right? They want the story of the Olympics to be France culture, best Olympics ever. What a beautiful city Paris is, right? So you don't want the story to be, we suck, people trying to kill us, and it was really dangerous. It's just, so I think that's why we're not getting updates, to be honest. Because the French just don't, he's playing it cool, but he's playing it cool because he doesn't want the message of the Olympics to be the terrorist attacks by the Russians. Steve, as far as when Ukraine's getting the F-16s, we were already told that several F-16s were on their way in transit, whatever that means, to Ukraine. We don't know how many. We don't know when they get there. Thank you, Timothy. That's, and again, how many will there be? Like whether it makes a difference or what. But there are F-16s on their way to Ukraine already. Don't know when they're getting there, but it's already July. I think, because they always said late summer. In America, late summer means August. Late summer does not mean September. Even though I think summer doesn't end until September 20th or whenever, 21st, whatever it is. In America, we consider summer ending Labor Day, which is like September 3rd, September 6th, September 1st. Basically, culturally, summer ends in August, the end of August. Once it's September 1st, it's not summer anymore to us. So I think they're coming in August. That was the plan. Thank you, Tarad, for the gift. Let me see here. That's a good point, Mike. Biden was one of the people in the room telling Obama it was too risky to go after Osama bin Laden in Pakistan territory. I forgot about that. You're right about that. You are right about that. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. No, he just has a more cautious approach to foreign policy, which I get, but Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. Sorry. Again, any of you with a Nest, I apologize. Alexa, what's the temperature set to?
The AC is set to 75.
Alexa, raise the temperature to 76. Oh my God.
The AC is set to 76.
Thank you. I swear she hates me sometimes. All right. Yeah, Celine Dion returned to stage. I know I have not watched any. I should be watching it. Once they made the Olympics every other year, I got bored. I loved watching the Olympics when it was every 4 years. It was such a thrill. When we were young, it was such a thrill. And now, the sunlight's coming through again. I think we're okay. Let's see. If the sunlight gets to be too much, I'll put my sheet back up. But now it feels like the Olympics never end. I don't watch them anymore. I just get bored. President Aravosis made the same call. I'd need to see the intelligence on the bin Laden stuff. I'm going to put my sheet up. I think it's too bright. I just don't know what the actual intelligence was as far as the effectiveness, etc. Boom, 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 and boom. There we go. All right, that's better. That will help. That will help. The plants got moved. No, my sister visited and we moved stuff. We put stuff up. There's now this cool shadow puppet from Mali. For YouTube, it's over here. For you guys, it's here. I've got, not from Mali, from Indonesia, Bali. So that's from Bali, the shadow puppet. And then from Mali is this really cool sort of mask that is a coming of age mask from like 1980 that you have to see. It's really cool. I moved the lamps around, put some display stuff, moved my Paris picture up higher. You can see here. And also moved the baleen, the whale piece is back there, but now close to the Mali mask. And then the plants, we moved the plants and moved my little fertility goddess there to make a nice plant grouping. You guys can see, and painted her pedestal black, which looks much nicer. So she's now kind of a grouping. The statue's behind me now. So it's kind of a grouping of plants. It looks like a garden. It's really cool. No, she's very good at the interior design. She did decorate. And my brother-in-law too. My brother-in-law also spent an hour plus getting that Indonesian puppet, the black frame against the wall there up, which was not fun. Thank you, Wicked Games. Oh yeah, that's for the yes, the crane out my window is for the halfway house for ex-cons that Washington, D.C., being the most liberal government on the planet other than San Francisco, thought was a good idea to build a halfway house for ex-convicts across the street from a children's art center, a maternal and child health center, and literally less than half a block from an elementary school. They thought ex-convicts, good idea. And when they got asked at public meeting, but you're not going to put sex offenders there, we're not going to say. We're not going to exclude anybody. Yay! Yay! How exciting! Ex-convicts, woo! I am more, and I say this, I'm more than happy to say, I can understand the need to have mixed neighborhoods, but ex-convicts have no right to live in anybody's neighborhood. They made their decision when they broke the law. So that kind of, and that's the liberal crap that drives me a little crazy. Don't be a NIMBY about criminals. No, I'll be a NIMBY about criminals. Yeah. They gave up any sympathy when they broke the law. So they don't have to move them into my neighborhood. No. So yeah, but again, it's Washington, D.C. This is what they do. It's unfortunate, but it's a ridiculously liberal city. No, they can pay their debt somewhere else. I don't think they did pay their debt. Move them somewhere else. Once they're out and they haven't committed crimes for a few years, then they're fine. They're welcome. But not the second they get out of prison. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And you put them literally across the street from an elementary school, a maternal child health center where pregnant women come, and then with their small babies, and a children's art center for young kids who are typically like 6 to 10. I mean, okay. Lovely. Anyway. What else, guys? Looking at YouTube comments. See, now YouTubers, you always say I don't pick your comments, but you often have internal discussions. It's kind of funny. TikTok, it's things at me. YouTube is often amongst yourselves. That's why I look, but then I go, okay, nothing to ask here. Which is good that you're all like chatty, but it's kind of funny. Anyway, what else, guys? What else? United Auto Workers likely to endorse Harris. Although I'm not really surprised when unions endorse her because it makes sense. Republicans are anti-union and Democrats are pro-union. So, I mean, good, but I'm not surprised, right? I don't know who Cohen is. Smiling. How will Kamala do in foreign relations? Don't know. I mean, literally don't know. I don't know. Should you be concerned about Kamala Harris's chances of winning? I mean, yes, you should be concerned, right? Because if Donald Trump wins, he may end all elections. So yeah, or try to violently overthrow the government if he doesn't. But she clearly now has a much better chance of winning the election than Biden did. Absolutely, positively. Whether that remains in the next 3 months, who knows? But right now, she is doing so much better than Biden. The question now is going to become, what do people think of her as they get to know her? Republican voters don't know her. They only got to see Fox News claiming she was a crazy black woman for 4 years, but they didn't really see her positions or whatever. They may not like her anyway because she's not a Republican. Democrats, I don't know who she is. Like I said, I can't. Foreign policy, I have no idea, right? Biden, I know who he is on foreign policy. Domestic policy, she probably is more liberal than Biden, but otherwise, I don't know. So even Democrats don't know who she is right now. Once people get to know her, forget the Republicans. I mean, in general, Republicans won't like her anyway because she's a Democrat. But will independents, will voters in the middle like her more or like her less when they get to know her over the next 2 months? I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's what I'm saying. If I were just, being raw, I'd say, of course, they'll love her. I have no idea. No idea. Yep, Elon Musk did. Allison just said Elon Musk put a fake AI video, artificial intelligence video of her up that was fake. And I said, did he put it up or did he share it? Elon is really scary. He has to be the dumbest smart guy around. I really don't think there's something. I mean, we know there's something wrong with him. I mean, he's got whatever the hell he's got, Asperger's or whatever. But I mean, there's something wrong with him. Not in that sense. There's just something wrong with the guy. He is constantly retweeting the craziest, not even far right, these crazy TikTok accounts that are just crazy. And he retweets that like that crazy Miles Chong, whatever the hell, who's like this Malaysian, who has 400,000 followers and constantly weighs in on U.S. politics as a Trump supporter. Right. And he's so devoted and talks about he was talking the other day about we need to rise up in violence or something in response to the Trump shooting. And people were like, you're Malaysian living in Malaysia. You want Malaysians to rise up? Why are you talking on behalf of Americans? Again, very strange. I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. You know what I'm thinking. It's very strange that some random Malaysian guy has nearly 500,000 followers and is devoted to Donald Trump and going crazy on Twitter. And Elon Musk keeps retweeting the guy's crazy stuff. It's very weird. It's very weird. But yeah, Musk is weird. That's probably the best word for it. He's weird, but he's kind of screwed up. Clearly, I mean, he's not very bright. You can always tell what he's doing. Like he's always sucking up to governments online, and you know what he's doing. Like now he's sucking up to Trump. He's sucking up to Republicans. He was sucking up to the Indians the other day. He sucked up to Chinese before. He just does stuff because it helps his business or whatever, and he doesn't think it's obvious that he's sucking up. I don't know what that is, Aaron McNally. He did cancel the Dudes for Harris account after they raised $4 million for her. I read today that maybe it was reopened. Maybe. My top pick for VP, I don't know. It may be Mark Kelly or Shapiro. So either Arizona or what is it? Sorry, something popped up on the screen. Arizona or Pennsylvania. Yeah, liberals did love Elon before he embraced white supremacists. Yeah. Yeah. You can like somebody when he's not crazy and then not like him when he goes crazy. You can like somebody when they don't embrace neo-Nazis. You can dislike them once they literally invite all the neo-Nazis to come back on Twitter, which Elon Musk did. The guy has a screw loose. And yeah, I tend not to like people who support authoritarian dictators. People who want to violently people who literally tried to violently overthrow our government. If you support somebody who tried to violently overthrow our government, I'm probably not going to like you very much. Yes, I'm certainly going to like you less than I did before. Thank you for the duck, Chazak. Tesla sales are not doing well with that Cybertruck. Whoa, what a disaster that was. Yeah, most billionaires are weird. I'd probably accept that, except Musk is really weird. Like, I would not want to have dinner with that guy. I wouldn't want to be in a room alone. He's creepy to me. Like, what's his face, right? I mean, I could see, at least from what I've seen on video of like, what's his face from Apple, Steve Jobs, he looked like a geek. I could see him being insecure like a geek. What's his face at Microsoft? Bill Gates, same thing, geek. Kind of, I could see him being a giggly geek, like not quite insecure, but kind of, right? That's weird of a different kind. That's like nerdy weird. Elon's like screwed up in the head, misanthropic weird. There's just something else going on, But yeah, that Cybertruck, man. Oh, are you one of those people, Wilson, that bought a Tesla and then you wanted to get a sticker that said, I bought it before I knew he was crazy? Thank you, Hustler, for subscribing. Or if somebody did the subscription for Hustler, thank you. Oh, I really am tired today. Look, God, I got so tired this weekend. We're running around the last couple of days doing stuff, and I'm still exhausted. Oh, I even had a nap today. It didn't help. Hannibal Lecter weird, maybe. JD Vance complained about Simone Biles dropping out of the last Olympics. I'm sure he did. Again, black women, they hate black women, especially. I want to say I don't why, but we do know why. They're women and they're black. It's like a twofer with these guys. It's really screwed up. I will be doing the lives during the week again. I'm going to start doing one tomorrow, Luna. Like I said, it just got Monday. There was no way. The weekend my sister arrived Sunday, so that was off. And then yesterday she was here again, so there was no way to do it. So, but I'll start doing the private lives for the paid subscribers. I will start doing again tomorrow. I was not on the event last night. I'm not a big fan of calling into events. I find it boring. I mean, I don't need to do a phone call to know Kamala Harris's positions. But all more power to you. But like, I live in this town, so that stuff to me, I'm like, ugh. I am not middle of the road. I mean, I am middle of the road. I have always thought Donald Trump was a piece of trash for trying to violently overthrow the government and being a horrible human being who's sexually molested women and everything else he's ever done. Let COVID get out of control, supported our enemies, hates America's allies, totally wants Vladimir Putin to win everything. So no, I've always thought Trump was a piece of shit. I just happen to be somebody who believes in democracy and believes in defending democracy, believes in standing up to America's enemies, believes in standing up to autocrats and dictators around the world, believes in standing for freedom at home, believes in supporting our troops. Trump doesn't. Trump called our troops suckers and losers for getting killed in action and prisoners of war. And it's true because his own chief of staff, a former Marine Corps decorated general, chief of staff of the White House, said he heard Trump call our troops suckers and losers. So yeah. You can actually be middle of the road and have enough courage and conviction to say Donald Trump is a piece of shit of a human being. Yeah. And American as well. So that's not being middle of the road. And the very reason I support Ukraine is because I am a Republican on foreign policy, because I believe in standing up to America's enemies. I believe in defending America. I believe in using our military to defend our allies abroad. That's as Republican as you get. It was until the crazy guy, the insurrectionist, took over. And then all of you started believing bullshit. Oh, we shouldn't be using our military. Oh, the FBI is a bad place. Are you people insane? You're trying to defund the FBI. I mean, on and on and on. Everything Republicans used to believe. Russia, what a great country. Vladimir Putin, former KGB guy, love him. No, you all, at least the Trump supporters, you're in a cult. And I get it, but I don't respect that. I don't respect people in a cult. I don't respect people who would, I just think it's sick. And if Democrats did it, I'd go after them too, And we have some freaks in the Democratic Party on the left, but they're on the left and they're not center mainstream. They're not the heads of the party. Joe Biden's boring and he's old. That's about it. He's not an extremist at all, right? So yeah, no, I don't buy that. Yeah, the FBI keeps changing their mind on Trump. Chris was saying, I'm confused. The FBI report that Trump was not shot in an ear that completely healed, but then the FBI said he was shot. So a couple days ago, the FBI director goes to Congress and says, actually, there is some kind of confusion or uncertainty about whether Trump was hit in the ear with a bullet or shrapnel. So shrapnel being like a piece of the bullet that flickered off of, or maybe even he meant something like hitting a teleprompter in the glass, hitting Trump in the ear. And he then said, thank you, Ocean, for subscribing, then said something to the effect of, FBI director, sure, it's, I guess something could have hit his ear and then gone into the crowd and hit somebody else. He goes, but all those bullets are accounted for, suggesting that the conclusion of the FBI was Trump was not hit by a bullet. The bullets were all counted. They know how many bullets, because again, they had the guy's gun. They know how many bullets were fired, and they accounted for all the bullets. Trump went crazy, and the FBI 3 days later issued a new statement saying, yes, Donald Trump was hit by a bullet. Okay, based on what? Right? I mean, you can't say the FBI director must know, say, we don't really know. It might have been just shrapnel. And then 3 days later, it was definitive, but there was no new information to make it definitive. Basically, and I'm convinced of this, Biden called the FBI up, he still runs them, and said, you are going to issue a statement saying it was a goddamn bullet so we can put this behind us because, well, he wouldn't say this to the FBI, but it's going to hurt our election chances if people keep discussing whether he lied about it being a bullet that hit his ear. Having said that, there are pictures of Trump's ear that are totally healed now. It's weird. Maybe if he got shot with a bullet. And people have said if the bullet hit his ear, Trump's fake doctor friend claimed that it had a 2 centimeter damage to his ear. 2 centimeters is like 4/5 of an inch. It's this much. Okay. This much damage on your ear. That's a lot of ear. And it's now totally healed after like 10 days at age 78, mind you. I mean, I'm a lot younger than Trump. My body heals much more slowly now. So yeah, it's weird. And Trump hasn't released any medical records. I mean, guys, he's hiding something. This is what he does. He lies about his health all the time. We know that. He lied about having COVID. He lied about going to the hospital, dying of COVID. He lies about everything. I mean, so yes, he's being weird. Had this been, by the way, if this were true, he would have had his doctor release a letter giving the details. Trump's doctor obviously wasn't going to release a letter. And the only reason doctors don't release letters when you tell them to is because, like a lawyer not going to court when you tell them to, they can get into major trouble if they lie. And the doctor can't go forward and lie about medical records. So anyway, yep, he's kind of a piece of crap. Yep, 67-30. That's what I thought the polling was showing for Maduro, not Maduro, the Gonzalez, the good guy versus Maduro, the dictator. Thank you, Blue, for that. Maybe another question or two, and then we'll go, guys. I'm just too tired. Thank you, Ash. I'm very tired, like I said. Just we were running around a lot yesterday, and I'm still kind of wiped out. Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. It's getting cold again. All right. Fut. Oh, it's definitely murder. Are you kidding? Yeah. Killing the 2 people at the rally is definitely murder. Oh, yeah. And it's an act of terror, I would argue. And it's it was an assassination attempt. Yeah. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Randy. The question is whether the bullet actually shot through Trump's ear. It looks like he's still lying about that, I think. But they tried to kill him. Yep. And they did kill 2 people in the audience, which was murder. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, positively. And it was an assassination attempt. I mean, all of that's very true. Yeah. I just don't like people lying. And I don't like president because he's lying to get votes. If he's lying at all, he's lying to get votes. And that's gross. It's also fraud and everything else. So, Thank you, Ava. I try to have informed opinions, and I also try to explain what I know to explain why I say something. So, but I don't think it's fake. No, I think something hit his ear for sure. I think that was real blood. I don't disagree with that. But he's lying about he would really, a former president gets shot and you're 78 years old, you do a press conference within an hour or two, and you release your medical records immediately. It would be required. Had it happened to Joe Biden, the media would have demanded it if it was Joe Biden, and they didn't. Why nitpick it then? Because Donald Trump thinks his lie is going to get him more votes. That matters. If he's getting votes fraudulently by telling you a lie, he thinks it's going to get him a lot more votes by constantly saying I was shot. I'm not a fan of presidential candidates lying to me to get votes. That would piss me off. I think it's fraudulent, and they all don't lie. Sometimes they stretch the truth. My candidate did, the other guy did this. I can deal with that more, but lying about being shot is pretty gross. Kamala Harris is spitting fire right now in Atlanta. I am not going to the Democratic convention. I've gone to several of them, and I'm not in the mood for it. Harris never lies. I don't know, but I can't point to one. Donald Trump is literally a pathological liar. Joe Biden is not a pathological liar who lies everything coming out of his mouth. Trump is, and it's been proven time and again, 30,000 lies will lose president. Joe Biden doesn't lie everything that comes out of his mouth. George Bush didn't lie about everything coming out of his mouth. Nikki Haley doesn't lie about everything. Lots of Republicans and Democrats are not pathological liars. Donald Trump is. And it should bother normal people that you're voting for somebody who's a pathological liar that lies about literally everything. And you can't just say Kamala Harris lies about everything because she's black or because she's a woman or because you don't like liberals. That is not justification for saying they're liars. No, they're too liberal for you. Fair enough, right? But I don't call Trump a liar, a pathological liar, because he's too conservative. I call him a pathological liar because it's already been proven for 8 years now that nearly everything coming out of that man's mouth is a lie. And it's gross and it's scary. So thank you, Randy. I shall gyps. He does corrupt. He corrupts everybody around him. Yeah. Who was it? What's his face? I'm forgetting. Who we love, who wrote the book that said everything Trump touches dies. Insurrection supporter is upset. I'm sorry, insurrection supporter. Did somebody make you go, ow? Show me on the Trumpy bear where someone hurt you. Rick Wilson. Yes, thank you. It's Rick. Yep. Rick Wilson. Exactly, Zach. Yeah, Trump is intent. It's not a lie when you say something incorrectly or you get your facts wrong. That's not a lie. A lie is literally, you know that Barack Obama established the Veterans Choice Program, and you claim literally 200 times, 150 to 200 times, Trump claimed on the campaign trail that he established the Veteran Choice Program that was established under Obama to help American veterans. That is a lie. He was fact-checked repeatedly. He just doubles down on his lies. It's what he does. And that makes you a liar. Getting stuff wrong, that's fine. Everybody gets stuff wrong, So, all right, guys, I'm going to call it quits. I am exhausted still. I'm sorry for my work the last couple of days. It also was hotter than hell here, and we had to do multiple trips to the hardware store in 90-degree heat and humidity. I'm just completely exhausted. All right. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to call it quits. I'm not going to do a recap because there's too many. I feel fine. I'm just exhausted. You know what I mean? I'm not sick. I'm just when you're really tired and your body's kind of going, so, but yes, see me all tomorrow. I am 99% sure I will do an earlier show, as always, the end of the morning for a special election update for the paid subscribers. So anybody with SNN next to your name on TikTok or green names on YouTube, come back. I'll do it on Discord as well. Come back probably 11 a.m. Eastern, more or less. I'll be back maybe 11:30, and we'll stay, maybe not for an hour, but we'll stay for a while, talk about what's going on, a more intimate one-on-one, talk about the election, your questions. And then I'll be back tomorrow night, 6:00 Eastern, to do the show again every night, Monday to Friday. Unless something special comes up like yesterday, I will do this broadcast talking about the latest news from Ukraine and the U.S. election. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate all the gifts and all the new members. Very sweet of you, and all the gift memberships that folks threw in. That was very nice of you as well. And I will see you all tomorrow. All right. All right. See you, YouTube. And see you, TikTok.